Hi, everybody, and welcome inside Scotiabank Arena. Welcome to the National Hockey League as we get you set tonight. Brad May is back, and the Florida Panthers are in town to take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. How are you?
I'm doing so good. Woke up, the sun was shining, and I'm excited about this hockey game. I really am.
Wow.
I know there's only a few left.
Yeah.
But for the Toronto Maple Leafs, we're going to see some young legs in this lineup, and I'm excited to see it.
Well, this will be an interesting one for those young players for sure. It's a kind of a challenging one when you think about where Florida is and where Toronto is and where those two teams were just under a year ago in terms of playoff implications and the playoff matchup. But that story will be written for another day. Tonight we are focusing on a lot of different topics, and I guess tonight we should probably introduce our next guest. Kirk Brooks is coming in from Seaside Hockey Association. Give a big hand inside the Scotiabank Arena, inside the studio here
Kirk.
tonight. Here's Kirk. Thanks for joining us, and I love the gear. You look fantastic. There's the mic.
Got it right there.
Thanks, Kirk, for joining us. We appreciate it. Now, for anybody tuning
logo.
in, we got to talk about this logo, this look. You got great gear. What is Seaside Hockey, and what should we know about it?
Seaside Hockey is a grassroots house league hockey program that started in North Scarborough.
Okay.
Started just after COVID in 2021. This is our fifth season. We went from about 47 kids in the first year to over 300 in our fifth year.
Okay. Maybe just a little bit about the background. Who is a member of the Seaside Hockey Association? How can kids get involved? Because I know it's making a difference in a lot of communities.
Yeah, a little interesting background. So the Seaside name came from my son and Anthony Stewart basically having a fight over what the name of the organization should be. But it has its roots in the Colored Hockey League. From Nova Scotia, 1895, the Africa Seasides were one of the first teams.
Fantastic.
So that's why I'm from Nova Scotia, and that's why we're the Seasides.
Tell me
Times in the Maritimes.
Tell me about the passion that these kids display on a daily basis when they show up and they learn how to play the game of hockey.
Well, I always tell everybody, come to Seaside. That's real unfiltered hockey. Kids are having fun. They don't know anything about the big leagues. They're just out there banging away. And our house league is actually really, really good. It's a good environment, a good community. Some of the families come. Yeah, that's us there. Some of the families come and spend the whole day with us. 3, 4, 5, 6 kids at a time.
And
Oh, and that guy scored 6 goals today in this game with a red helmet.
I love it. I love it. So you've been doing this, and there's an old coach that I came across through my journey to the NHL, Rick Cornacchia. I know you have a history with Rick.
Yeah, we call him Uncle Rick. We love Rick. When we first started Seaside, he said, you got a lot of players. What are you going to do? Everybody was talking to us. When he said, oh, my name's Rick Cornacchia, I knew him from winning the Mem Cup,
Yes.
coaching the Italian national team. So it was just a pleasure for him to reach out to Seaside. And now that's our affiliate. So any of the kids that come up from House League, go play for Rick.
What, when you think about, we know the game is such a part of the fabric of this country. I guess what are the challenges still in the way for some of the kids who are maybe coming on board with Seaside, and how you guys are helping?
I always simplify this, and people don't believe me. It's as simple as asking. All these kids want to play hockey. It doesn't matter where they are from in the world. They all want to play. If you come to our association, it looks like the melting pot. It looks like Canada. We just ask, hey, do you want to play? They're like, yes. We found them in Walmart, in the malls, walking down the street, in schools. All hockey has to do is just welcome them in. They all want to play.
And one of the big challenges would be equipment. Do we have anybody out there that's going to help us secure more equipment for these young kids?
Well, at this point in time, like, we have a relationship with Bauer. Bauer has helped us. Our program's different from most. We give away free equipment.
Okay.
So if your kid grows out of his skates by Christmas, come to the office, we'll give you another pair. So if you're a new player to the game, instead of getting used equipment, we give them all new equipment because we want them to experience, real hockey. You can have the hand-me-downs after you played for a couple of years, like the rest of us.
I wonder if there's...
Sorry, I got to jump in there. Nothing better than hand-me-down equipment. Never did I enjoy getting new skates, new gloves, new anything. It always had to be used.
But you played back in the Super Tuck era, though.
Yes.
Equipment was different.
What about a story that maybe stays with you, Kirk? A success story, or maybe a story of overcoming where maybe some kids who you never thought they'd play and maybe didn't have the resources to do it came into your program, and you've kind of watched them grow. And I don't know if it's about turning a life around, but I'm sure it's certainly made an impact. Is there one that really stays with you that you can point to that says, we know we made a difference here?
Well, I'd like to point to...
I'm sure there's many.
I'd like to point to, like, I'll use our U9 team. So our U9 type, these kids were 5, 6, 4 years ago. They would walk into arenas and just 44-1, 29-1, but they smile, they laugh. 4 years later, we're going for the championship this week with that same team. Yeah, so that's the story, and that team's a mix of kids from the inner city. It's a mix of kids that have and don't have. So that's how all of our program is. So it's mixed.
I always find those are where the real stories are too, right? You could always go to the undefeated team, but the real stories and maybe the heartwarming stories are when you go to the team that's getting shelled, or maybe they're 1-20 on the year, because that spirit is still there. There's a brotherhood, there's a kinship, there's some type of ability to just keep going because of the love of the game. I mean, I'm sure the messaging from you guys has to be, it ain't about results. At least on the scoreboard, it's about results elsewhere.
Yes, it's just not about the scoreboard. But I'll tell you, one of the best things that we find, like, we always have this thing we ask, who's your favorite hockey player? And some of these kids are from the South Sudan, Trinidad, Jamaica, China, you name it. And they're Austin Matthews, Sidney Crosby. So they are just loving the game. We give them a free wooden stick, a straight stick.
Beautiful.
After 6 weeks, they come back with a nice little fly light in their hands, so we know that they're taking up the game. Yeah, they're hooked. They're hooked. Yes, absolutely.
And you being a mentor, how do you go about getting your coaches or the other people that are helping these young kids learn?
Well, I've been really, really lucky because I've been at this since 1992. So I have a lot of alumni that have come through programs that I've run. So all of our coaches, including our president, which is my daughter, she's 23, have come through our program. So getting coaches is actually not difficult for me because I just get all the players that have played for me. They all call. We take them for high school hours. So that has been something that we do. So we try to develop coaches also along with players.
Can you give us some names that we might know that either have helped out or lend their support in any way? You were off camera. You were telling us a couple of big names. Who's been involved?
Through history. So out of my very first camp that I had, Tony McKechnie was one of my, Tony McKechnie and Freddie Brathwaite at Malvern. Out of that camp, Kevin Weeks was there, Anson Carter was there, Trevor Daly was there, Joel Ward was there, Eli Wilson was there. So I kind of got lucky that year. Like, we had a lot of big names come through, and they've all been great. Obviously, Simmer has been great. These are all kids that have come through programs that I've run over the years.
And Anthony, he's a mainstay here in Toronto too. Anthony Stewart, he's doing incredible work, throughout the game of hockey. But I love the fact that these guys give back and recognize your leadership and are giving of themselves, because these young kids, boys and girls, the game of hockey is the absolute best game, no question. You learn wonderful, lessons in life by losing 49-0. You can learn from that, and that's a springboard.
And still smile. But the one last thing I want to say about, so this logo, it's Shantae, Anthony's wife, who fought with me. This was the final design. She gave us some rough designs. But so all of the guys in our community.
Right there. Look at that. Looking
good.
All
everybody in our community has touched us in some way. Mark Fraser upstairs has helped us out. I mean, we've got a lot of love, in doing this.
Where does the program go for here? Because you can talk grassroots, you can talk about, you mentioned those U9s, you've got seemingly a strong group of either pro or people who are giving back, alumni to a degree. Where do you want this program to go, and not just in terms of growth, but maybe impact?
So our next step now is to build our house league. So when I got back into this, I wanted to rebuild hockey in Scarborough. As you know, Scarborough was a hockey hotbed. Hockey went way down. Now, between myself, the Scarborough Ice Raiders, and West Hill have been there for a long, long time. The work that they're doing, along with what we've added, now we're starting to build hockey back up in Scarborough. So what I'd like to do is make sure that hockey's built back up. There are rep teams back in Scarborough. The arenas are full, and that's basically what our goal is. And I tell you, without the support of, like, the NHL has supported us, the NHL Players Association has supported us. We've had guys from teams, general managers called, say, Brooksy, I got jersey. So we've been getting it from all over the place.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
So how can people, website, social handles, here's your chance to kind of pitch it if we want to get involved, or even just check it out, or maybe even get our kids involved.
Yeah, you can check us out at Seaside Hockey Club on Instagram, seasidehockey.ca. Just Google Seaside Hockey and all the information will come up. We are looking for players, and we are registering our free under 6 program.
Do we play hockey throughout the summer?
Now that we've got a group of hardcore hockey kids, we have Monday ice and Wednesday ice all the way until June. But of course, my daughter and them look after that because I'm trying to make the seniors PGA Tour.
Oh, bold.
Let's go.
Seaside Golf is next.
So after this tournament's over tomorrow, that'll be up to the young ones. You know what I mean? I've earned that. You know what I mean?
I don't know if you've seen this, Kirk, but you mentioned some of the NHL side. Dakota Joshua from the Leafs and Charno Marley also had a chance to check it out. Have a look. And thanks for this, Kirk.
The name Seaside comes from the Africville Seaside, one of the first teams to play in the Colored Hockey League in 1895. All of our teams, that you'll see all the jerseys that the kids are wearing, are all like Mossbacks, Rangers, Royals, Jubilees. Those are all Colored Hockey League teams.
Shoot! Goal!
I think that's really cool that he used the original Black Hockey League team names to keep that tradition going. I mean, that's where the game started with Black hockey, so I mean, it's cool to continue it and watch the growth of the game.
Go! You're good, get up! Atta boy!
When I first started, it was, rare to see, or I was always, if not the only, black person in the building playing hockey, and then just how it's progressed through the years, and to date I've had multiple black teammates at every level, so it's just good to see the game grow, and it's come a long way for hockey.
Are you ready? Go! Gates! Oh, you're good, get up!
Always nice to give back to the community, and it's always nice when the people look at you the same way that you look at them. It's great to represent the black community out here. I work with hockey in Harlem over the summers, and that was really eye-opening. I mean, they don't have the right gear, they don't have a lot of ice time, but whenever they do, they're just so happy, and you could just see it put a smile on their face, whether it's the 15 minutes they get or whether it's an hour. It's just great to see.
Uh-oh. Get it! Uh-oh. Get up! Oh no, I'm gonna get you! Get it!
Just to see all the smiles on the kids' faces goes a long way, and definitely sometimes you can forget about how much you mean to the sport and how much of a role model you can be, but doing something like this really puts it in perspective.
Hey, Seaside on 3. 1, 2, 3. Seaside!
Wonderful there. Mark Johnstone and, of course, Dakota Joshua. And our big thanks to Kirk Brooks for coming by. That's great. Great stories, great community impact.
No, big time. And I grew up just on the northern border of Scarborough, which town of Markham. And I used to run into Kirk.
Really?
Summer times when we go skate. Yeah. I remember him, but it is amazing. It takes individuals like Kirk to actually have the passion to drive a program like that. And then, of course, I love the story there. Kids from South Sudan, China, that actually their favorite players are actual NHLers and they're watching, they're in tune, and they want to play this great game.
Hey, William Villeneuve is going to make his NHL debut tonight, and he's been waiting patiently to make his NHL first appearance. Tonight he's going to do that against the Florida Panthers. And I wonder, before we kind of get into that, we're going to hear from Luke Hames, who made his debut last game on Long Island. That was special to have some family come in, and Villeneuve as well will have family and loved ones on hand. Let me ask you about, that moment you found out that you were going to make your NHL debut. I know we've talked about this, but I wonder if you can recall the emotions and the feelings and maybe what that day was going like. I doubt there was a lot of nap. I'm guessing, you were on pins and needles the whole time.
First of all, dream come true, right? It's a little bit of a different story for me because I was able to make the team right out of training camp. Yeah. So I guess I only had to wait that 3.5 weeks and 8 or 9 exhibition games. But I remember I was invited because I didn't know if I was going to get sent down and go to the minors like a lot of players or most players. I got invited to go with the team to the day before we started. There was a banquet, and it was at a hotel in Buffalo. And when I was walking in, the coach came up to me, Rick Dudley, who at the time was my head coach, and he said, "Kid, you're going to be in the lineup tomorrow night." And I remember the hair on the back of my neck, my shoulders. It was a buzz that I can't describe.
Can you still recall that,
I
though?
recall it,
Yeah.
though, and I feel it when I just told you that story. Just that you work so hard, and you have such big dreams, and you love this game so much. And, oh, my gosh, I'm now thrust into this new environment. I do remember going to the game the next night, which was a home opener in Buffalo against the Stanley Cup champions, which I guess is the same thing here. It's a little different, though, because these two teams aren't going to make the playoffs. Embarking on a season, we were playing against Mario Lemieux, Tom Barrasso, Kevin Stevens, Mark Recchi, and they had just won the Stanley Cup. Oh. And I didn't sleep a wink. I threw up about 5 or 6 times going into the game. Really? After warm-up. I used to do that. Not voluntarily. It just happened for the first couple months. I was so nervous, so excited to be in the National Hockey League. I just got myself amped up. I also knew I was going to be fighting men as well, and that excites me.
Big boy.
It got me up and got me ready. Yeah.
Do you remember? And this is maybe a stretch, so I'm putting you on the spot with this. But when you sort of were able to park the nerves, I mean, in game 1 or game 2 or whenever it was, in game when you felt you had the legs, you understood the pace. Talking to a lot of these guys. They kind of, whoa, this pace is not what I'm used to. And, you got to play through it, be it the lungs burning, be it the legs and the quads that are burning. Do you remember when you sort of realized, okay, now I know how hard I have to go?
Oh, for sure. But I don't think in that first game, I got a great story to it. Rick Vive, who was the captain of Toronto, Vivey was my right winger, and Christian Ruutu. And we were actually tasked, every time Mario Lemieux's line stepped on the ice, we actually were put on the ice, because we had the last change. So we played against them. We were +2 at the end of the game, and I had a goal and an assist in my first game. I had a breakaway against Tom Barrasso, and Mario was trying to catch me. I was a little faster, a fleet of foot. I make that up. Yeah. Mario probably fell down earlier, but no, I did. I scored a goal in my first shot ever in the National Hockey League. So that was exciting. But in the first period, Mario was on the boards. There was a scrum going on, and I skated into the scrum and I drilled him. And when I hit Mario Lemieux, all of a sudden 4 Pittsburgh Penguins players had me against a glass, and they're right in my face. And Phil Bourque, who I run into, he's an analyst with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Phil says, "You can't touch that guy." And at that moment, I understood that this is a different level. But I actually used some choice words and told Phil to go shove it. So, you know what? I want to be in the National Hockey League, and I promise you...
And I don't care that I'm a marked man.
And I promise you, Phil, you're not going to be the guy that's going to stop me.
I love that.
But in saying that, with respect, all those players that came before me, players that are on the ice before these young men, you look up to them. But you know what? You can respect them. You can't fear them. And you got to be excited and not worry about, hurting people, not worried about, their feelings physically. You want to eat them for breakfast.
Yeah.
You need to have that attitude. If you want to have longevity in the NHL, it's fine getting through the door, but what's going to make you stay?
I like this. And, tonight we mentioned William Villeneuve is going to make his NHL debut. Look for him doing the rookie hot lap. They didn't have that in your day, did they? They didn't have the solo lap when you were making your debut.
When I was playing later in my career, the hot lap became a thing.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious. And
I love it.
It's such a fun thing. And by the way, all of us remember our first games. These players today remember, and they're excited for the young man. Yeah. William, I wish you the best, and I hope it's a great experience, and I hope it's the first of many more.
Well, Luke Hames made his debut on Long Island. Last game, as we mentioned, he picked up a point, an assist. Maybe could have had a second one, but right now he's a point-a-game player in the National Hockey League. I had a chance to catch up with him this morning. Okay, Luke, this is an exciting time for you and some of your younger teammates as well who are getting an opportunity. Let's just start with yours against the Islanders. What was that like for you? I know you had family in town. You spoke after that game. Now you had a chance to kind of soak it all in. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, surreal. Obviously a dream come true, something that every kid, dreams about growing up, is playing in their first NHL game. And, would have liked a better result for the game in terms of winning. But, it was a ton of fun, super exciting for my family and I, and super grateful for the experience.
You pick up a point in your first NHL game. That's pretty hard to beat. You're a point-a-game player. So you got to keep it going. You got a streak going. But what was the biggest takeaway for you? Once you kind of had a chance to settle in and kind of block out some of the noise, I don't know if it was pace or if it was chemistry or if it was just X's and O's, but how about for you? What was the biggest takeaway?
Yeah, I think pace for me, it's something I've been working on all year, and obviously, it's the fastest league for a reason. And the other thing was draws, going against, Horvat and Shen, super strong on their feet and in the circle. So it was super, it was a good challenge, and it was a good learning experience for me, and it'll help me build going forward.
Yeah, how do you keep that momentum going? Because we know where things sit right now, but you've got to go up against the Florida Panthers tonight. You're going to go back in. Now, as you know, it's an everyday league. You got to keep going. So what do you kind of focus on?
Yeah, I think just getting to my game as fast as possible, getting a bump in early, and then, settling in and just trying not to think and just play my game and, try to create some offense for myself and my teammates, and, hope to win the game.
William Villeneuve is going to make his NHL debut after waiting for his chance patiently. Now, you said try not to think. You were thinking, I'm sure, ahead of this game. What's he thinking right now?
Yeah, probably, first game jitters, as, I had last game, which is a normal thing to go through. And
was it real?
Oh, yeah, definitely real. I think the biggest thing was just warm-ups. It's kind of, it was most jitters for warm-ups, and then after that you kind of get the chance to settle in after your first few shifts. So it'll be the same thing tonight. I know Chief has talked to him about just settling in, and first few shifts just enjoy it, and settle in as fast as possible, sort of thing.
And that rookie or that hot lap, what was that like for you? He's going to go through it tonight.
Super cool. I was trying not to follow my first few steps. I'd be careful with the pucks there, but otherwise, super cool. Obviously, cool to share that moment with Artie too. He's had a great year.
He was great.
He was unbelievable. Really good for us. Stood on his head, and he gave us a chance. So, we'll look to keep that going.
Finally, just for Leaf fans. How do you describe your game for those who are just kind of familiarizing themselves with your game? What is it? What kind of a player are you? I don't know if there's a comparable, but how do you see your game?
Yeah, I think I'm a 200-foot headsy player who likes to get to the net, create some offense for myself and my teammates, whether it's taking the puck to the net myself or creating a play in the slot, and then super solid defensively, good on draws. Just like pride myself on a 200-foot game. Defense first, but also the ability to create some offense.
Well, we wish you the best of luck in game number 2. Keep it going. Thanks for this.
Thank you very much.
Boy, you can imagine how his life has changed in the last couple of days, right? Get called up, get into that game, have a point, and now he's got to do it, as you were talking about. It's an everyday league. Getting here's one thing. Sticking is another.
Hey, dude, I remember. So I scored my first goal. I was telling that. I went end of the second period between second and third. I was sitting in my stall, and we had these blue towels, and I put a blue towel over my head, and I was leaned over, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh my God, if I score one every 2 games, take a few nights off, I got 30. A month and a half later, I had 3 goals. So this league, sneakily, it is a tough league. But when you come in, you have nothing to fear, and you're chasing your dreams. If you can kind of keep with that unbridled enthusiasm, get excited. Sometimes reality strikes you pretty hard, but there's no question. let him play. He's made it.
Yeah.
He got here for a reason. They want him to play.
And these are the games to do it.
And then all of a sudden you start feeling a little more claustrophobic, and you start worrying about the things that are obviously out of your control. Just keep it simple. Skate, shoot, hit. That's it. And if you fight, jump in a few times.
We saw Akhtiamov, who was superb between the pipes for the Leafs against the Islanders. He was shelled, but he looked fantastic. 39 saves, I believe. He made an impression as well. He was buzzing after the last game as well. It will be Joe Woll who goes tonight. But as far as the roster is concerned tonight, we did learn there will be no Brandon Carlo, Anthony Stolarz, or Dakota Joshua. All three are done for the season. And we saw that unfortunate moment where Joe Woll had to come on in relief of Stolarz. We just know that all three will not require surgery. That's the good news. But it sounds as though Stolarz, it could, this injury, impact his overall start to the offseason. So that's not great. Not the way you want to start things off. But certainly you wish all three, to go along with everybody else on the long-term injured reserve, the best.
Listen, injuries happen. It's unfortunate, but you just got to get through it. You got to work yourself through it. I'm just looking. Stanley Cup champion, of course, the Florida Panthers. Just look at the names. I mean, Toronto's got, a lot of guys in the infirmary, but Barkov, Seth Jones, Matthew Tkachuk, Kulikov, Aaron Ekblad, Sam Reinhart. These are the best players on the Florida Panthers. They're all in the IR. Yeah. It's a difficult league to stay healthy, especially when you go deeper into the playoffs. And by the way, these two teams were the two teams there in the conference final, or division final, last year to punch their ticket to the conference final. It's amazing.
The Atlantic Division.
What a year brings.
It is. It's crazy. And as Craig Berube was talking about this morning, these things do happen. And you have to kind of tell yourself that, remind yourself of that, because it is a frustrating year for so many. But only one team can win it, and only so many get in, and certainly down years happen for teams. You just hope, for Toronto's sake, that they can bounce back. But it's I guess I wanted to leave you with this, and just how difficult these are for players. There's been a lot of talk about, how you kind of get through these games. I'll ask you, like, when you're in this position, how do you manage these types of things? You're professionals. We get that. But how difficult are these games to play in?
I'm going to tell you a funny one. So we were playing with the Phoenix Coyotes. We didn't make the playoffs. We went on the road, and we're playing against the Anaheim Ducks. Ruslan Saleh, the late Ruslan Saleh, is playing in this game. And Vishnevsky, a defenseman, number 6. This guy, young guy, hungry, excited. He's running around, and he's making big hits. Louis DeBrusk, myself, Darcy Hordichuk, Kelly Buckberger, we're all in Phoenix. And we're like, let's just get through this game because it's the last game of the year. And this young guy's running around, killing guys. After that, we went in the locker room at the end of the first period. We spent about probably 6 or 8 minutes in the penalty box throughout the second, each and every one of us trying to get him. At the end of the day, the moment you take your foot off the gas, bad things or tough things are going to happen. We ended up going back out in the second and third period, and we were like on the warpath, all of us trying to get this guy. Going into the third period, Bobby Francis, our coach, in the locker room, he's like, guys, you guys are a bunch of idiots. If you're going to take another penalty, just get him. Just get him. But this is absolutely nonsensical. Play the game, play it hard, and let's get through it. But at the end of the day, you got to have respect for the game, respect for your opponent, and you can never give up.
And the crest, right? You hear a lot of talk. You got to play for that crest, and certainly for one another.
Louis DeBrusk on Hockey Night in Canada, I got to get him to tell this story. It was unreal. Vishnevsky stepped up and cracked him hard, and Louis is so tough, and he was sour. But at the end of the day, you're playing in the NHL. There's 60 minutes to play, and you can't take it off.
Okay, well, you can catch this game on Hockey Night in Canada. It's great to be with you. This is the second last home game, of course, tonight against the Panthers. Monday, it's the Dallas Stars, and then it all wraps up on the road in the nation's capital. Senators hosting the Leafs on Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in to Unsportsmanlike content. Our very big thanks to Kirk Brooks with the Seaside Hockey Association. For Brad May, I'm Ryan Leslie. Enjoy the game, everybody.
See ya.